Picture a Monday elevator with that soft hum and stale air, fluorescent lights turning faces flat. The doors open and you step into a corridor where power is quiet. Nobody's bragging, nobody's pounding the table, yet you can feel it. The person who will decide the shape of the week walks a half step slower, answers fewer pings, and when they finally speak, people close their laptops by instinct. Attention begs, status decides. In 2025, work is hybrid, chatty, algorithmic, and accelerating. Loud is cheap. What moves careers is the person who reliably sets the frame, defines the trade-offs, and ships artifacts that make other people's decisions easier. That's status without noise. That's Machiavelli for the age of Slack and Zoom, guided by a simple rule. Incentives beat opinions, structure beats charisma, and the room obeys the clock of whoever controls the next irreversible step. Before we start, quick ask. If you want more quietly ruthless strategy like this, tap like, share with one colleague who's tired of performative productivity, and drop a comment with the word frame if you're claiming tomorrow's meeting frame before anyone else touches the agenda. Now breathe. We're going to rewire how you enter every room. Let's make the game explicit. Status at work isn't popularity, volume, or 1,000 micro-affirmations. It's option power. Your ability to choose what you work on, who you work with, and when you say yes or no, and have the system adapt. You can diagnose it in 30 seconds. Do people wait for your read before they commit? Do they accept your definition of done? When you say we'll do B and C slips to Tuesday, does anyone fight you, or do they nod? Do you control the first 90 minutes of your day? Do your artifacts travel farther than you do? If the answer is a shaky, sometimes, this is your playbook. We'll install 9 unspoken rules that gain momentum precisely because they're quiet. Each rule translates into scripts, micro-rituals, and visible behavior you can run tomorrow at 9:10 a.m. There's nothing mystical here. It's posture, tempo, consequence, and the way you treat time like a scarce asset instead of a bottomless pantry for other people's emergencies. Start with claiming the frame. Most people start meetings as if they're entering weather. Passive, reactive, hoping the storm passes. You'll do the opposite. 90 seconds before any room, you run a pre-flight that fits on an index card. Line 1, game in 1 sentence. The real situation without spin. Client wants speed, code base fights it. Line 2, win condition by timestamp. The smallest outcome that counts. By 11:25, decide A or B, name owner, pick date. Line 3, trade-offs I'm willing to show. The costs you'll surface calmly. We drop analytics polish, protect security review. Then you enter with a question that reduces chaos. Before we debate features, what does a good enough Friday handoff actually mean in 1 sentence? Watch the oxygen shift. You didn't flex. You created a boundary around the conversation. If someone tries to hijack the frame with story time, you slow your tempo and say, helpful context. For clarity, can you pin the decision we need by today in 1 line? That's Machiavelli without the costume. Define the battlefield, then fight. Practical scripts you can use this week. To keep us from thrashing, is everyone okay deciding between option A or B by 11:25? If we call it clean at A, here are the 2 costs I see. Am I missing a third? What dies if we ship Monday instead of Friday? Every line does the same job. Shrink chaos into a choice with a clock. Now adjust your voice without raising it. Whisper authority is the 2025 advantage because microphones are everywhere. People remember calm cadence under pressure the way soldiers remember who didn't flinch. You practice 3 moves. First, speak last when stakes are fuzzy. Decide first when stakes are clear. This isn't theater. It preserves cognitive diversity before you apply your judgment. Second, a half-beat pause before your first sentence. That heartbeat is expensive. It tells the room you're choosing a lane, not thinking out loud. Third, questions that cut through fog. Which variable actually breaks the plan if wrong? What are we optimizing for today? Speed, quality, or learning? What can we stop doing now to hit Friday? Pair those with posture. Feet flat, shoulders down 1 centimeter. Exhale longer than you inhale. Slack and Zoom accentuate tempo. Your breath is your metronome. If someone escalates volume, drop yours. If someone sprays details, ask them to pin a verb and a date. Do not perform dominance. Perform clarity. The status you seek is not applause. It's obedience to reality. People obey reality faster when they hear it in short sentences that name costs. Your calendar is a power plant. In companies, time is the real currency and everyone says the exchange rate out loud. Got a minute? Usually means, give me your priority for free. Clockcraft makes your time legible and scarce. Protect the first 90 minutes of the day like they're a ritual. No pings, no calls, no social. You're not moralizing, you're protecting prime brain. Publish your response windows in your status. Live replies 1:20, 1:45, 4:45 mo. Call for emergencies. That tiny sentence does three things. It reduces false urgency, it makes you predictable, and it trains others to batch requests. Batch your own responses. If you answer within 5 minutes, you teach people that you're an inbox attendant. If you answer within windows, you teach them to prepare. Add a visible cost for violating your own rule. If you break your morning fortress, you pay by dropping one non-critical task from your afternoon. Make meetings earn their place with a single requirement. There's either a pre-read or a post-read. Pre-reads prevent improvisation fatigue. Post-reads make decisions persistent. At scale, this is how teams grow up. Mornings become build time, afternoons become bandwidth for other people's clocks, and your status rises because your throughput is visible and your tempo is stable. Scarcity windows are how you signal availability without being a doormat. Available means reachable. Accessible means interruptible. Status at work favors people who are reliably available and rarely accessible. Build office hours that fit your team's rhythm. For example, Tues, Thurs, 2-3 p.m., drop in for product questions. Anything else? Book after 4:30. Post a 3-step escalation path so real emergencies still reach you. If production is down, page me. If money's on fire, call. For everything else, dock or office hours. The ethical dimension matters. You're not hiding. You're guaranteeing focus and fairness. People stop resenting boundaries when they know exactly when the gate opens. Over time, the value of your yes increases. Your no becomes less personal because you've turned it into a schedule. If someone insists on immediate attention for non-urgent work, offer the trade-off calmly. Happy to jump now. To protect Friday, do we drop X or move Y? If they can't name a cost, it wasn't urgent. If they can, you just taught the room to think in budgets, not impulses. Aura fades, artifacts travel. In status economies, people gift authority to the person whose documents make decisions easy when they're not in the room. That is your new KPI. You ship objects that carry your voice without you. A one-page memo that frames the problem in one line, lists 3 options with explicit costs, and ends with a recommendation stamped with a date. A decision log with 3 fields: decision, owner, timestamp, so nobody rewrites history on Monday. A checklist that turns a recurring chaos into a routine. A demo video of 90 seconds with a clear, watch this, 0.10, 0.45. These artifacts outlive the meeting and scale your influence. Even better, they are shareable leverage. Managers above you can forward them and look competent, which ties your status to their status. To make artifacts addictive, use an artifact triangle. Corner 1, clarity. What's the decision in one breath? Corner 2, options. Name the trade-offs as costs, not feelings. Corner 3, stamp. Write the owner and date. You are training the room to see you as the person who makes ambiguity expensive and action cheap. The lever you'll use most is trade-off framing. Machiavelli would tell you, power accrues to the person who sets the menu of costs. Modern version. To do this cleanly, here's what we drop or move. You never say we can't. You say we can at this price. 3 classic levers, scope, time, quality, rarely allow all 3 maxed. Pick 2, show the cost on the 3rd, and let the buyer choose. Scripts you can slot into any conversation. If we keep the deadline, what features die? If quality is non-negotiable, what date slips? If scope is fixed, what budget or headcount changes? Pair it with steel manning. Prove you understand the other side before you restate the trade. I get why we want it shiny. If we go shiny, we pay in days or dollars. Which one hurts less? The person who names the cost without drama sounds like the adult in the room. That's status. When pushback arrives, don't argue abstractions. Show the risk ledger. 3 bullet risks, likelihood high, med, low, mitigation 1 line each. You're not just guarding your calendar, you're guarding the company's sanity. Allies multiply power without noise. The alliance ledger turns soft favors into trackable assets without turning you into a politician. Keep a simple table. Name, what they value, what you delivered, what they delivered, next visible credit you owe them. Update it Friday. Politely overcredit people in public and collect quietly in private. When you ask, make it small and concrete. Can you sanity check this memo for 5 minutes by 4 p.m.? When you deliver, over-communicate the result. Shipped, mentioned you in the post-read. Use a light contract with peers for accountability. 2 signals per day, black dot when I start a deep block, check mark when I complete the 3rd. Break the chain, I owe coffee. That token rule does 2 things. It aligns tempo and creates shared rituals of delivery. For your manager, keep a weekly scoreboard. 3 bullets. What moved the needle? What risks you're mitigating? What decision you need from them? Busy leaders love lieutenants who remove decisions and surface only the ones that matter. Over time, your name becomes shorthand for safe to delegate, safe to sponsor. Edges and deliberate discomfort are how you signal depth without peacocking. People trust what cost you something. Volunteer for the high-friction slice of the project with a visible constraint. Then make your progress legible. Offer a live demo on Thursday with an ugly first draft on Tuesday. Ask for hard feedback on Wednesday, documenting the changes. Take the late-night shift once a quarter when production genuinely needs shepherding. Do it quietly, write the post-mortem, propose 2 changes that prevent a repeat. The point isn't martyrdom, it's skin in the game that the room can see. Build a discomfort ladder for the skills that make you scary good. If you avoid presenting, start with a 5-minute readout to your team, then a 10-minute cross-functional update, then a crisp executive brief. Each rung is paired with a micro-reward and a visible artifact. Your discomfort becomes a signal. This person chooses, stretches, and then ships. Optionality is your moat. In offices, the person with credible alternatives never has to shout. Train the 3 O's. Skills that compound, assets that scale, and reputation that travels. Skills that compound. Writing clear memos, modeling problems, running crisp experiments, orchestrating AI tools to debottleneck yourself and your team. Assets that scale. Libraries of templates, checklists, snippets, dashboards. Repeatable playbooks with how to run this in plain language. Reputation that travels. Managers who change companies and bring you with them because your artifacts made them look brilliant. Build mini automations for grunt work so your output per hour quietly outpaces peers. No need to advertise. People will feel your velocity. Keep 1 side project per quarter that intersects with your company's future. An internal wiki page that becomes the source of truth, a set of scripts that cut report time in half, a small AI helper that summarizes customer calls into decision-ready bullets. Optionality means you can say, I'm not the only person who can do this, but I'm the one who can do it without drama. That sentence, unstated, is the posture of status. Let's drop the philosophy into Tuesday at 9:03 a.m. You've got a cross-functional meeting with design and sales. They're excited, you're outnumbered, urgency is humming. Before you join, you run your 90-second pre-flight. Game, sales wants promises, delivery wants stability. Win, decide MVP by 11:20, name owner. Trade-offs, we drop animation polish, we protect security. You join Zoom, camera at eye level, shoulders quiet. You wait half a beat, then you ask, for a good enough Friday handoff, what exactly must exist in 1 sentence? Sales throws 3 wants immediately. You slow down. If we keep Friday, which feature dies or which date moves? Pick one so we don't create pretend capacity. Someone complains that we always slow things down. You, Steelman. Right, speed pays. Also, every rollback costs 2 days. I'll propose 2 options. A, ship Friday with basic upload, no analytics, stable. B, ship Tuesday with analytics, higher risk. Which pain do we prefer? You just made the cost audible. Meeting ends with an owner, a date, and a one-page post-read you ship by noon. That post-read travels. Your boss forwards it up. Status moved in your direction because you controlled the frame, not the crowd. Now add the personal ledger that keeps you honest. At the end of each day, score 4 numbers on a plain card: deep blocks completed, unforced context switches, decisions framed, artifacts shipped. Add a quick note: where did I lose the frame, and what edge will I add? On Fridays, compute your respect ratio: decisions framed plus artifacts shipped, divided by unforced switches. Over 2 weeks, you want that number trending up. If it dips, you don't perform a moral drama. You adjust architecture. You add a scarcity window. You schedule a post-read template. You simplify your morning fortress. Professionals tune systems. Amateurs flog themselves. There are common traps that bleed status. The nice person with no prices trap. You say yes to everything because you want to be kind. Your calendar dissolves and your output loses teeth. Cure: kindness with costs. Happy to help, to keep Friday clean. Which thing drops? The attention equals status trap. You chase pings because they feel like proof that you matter. Cure: ship artifacts and count delivered commitments. The louder equals leader trap. You try to dominate conversations to feel safe. Cure: speak last, decide first, and let the document carry the day. The perpetual urgency addiction. You feel alive only when things are on fire. Cure: pre-commit to calm tempo and public windows. Reward predictable delivery, not heroic rescues. The overpromise to impress trap. You announce aggressive timelines and then apologize later. Cure: trade-off framing paired with a written decision log. Your promises become precise, your credibility compounds. The status theater temptation: you perform busy, back-to-back meetings, constant presence, zero depth. Cure: visible morning fortress and predictable office hours. Your absence from noise is your presence in results. Ethics matter, so here's the line. Machiavelli isn't a license to manipulate. It's a manual for seeing incentives and building structures that reduce chaos. You aim to create environments where good decisions become easy and bad decisions become expensive. You don't use whisper authority to hide mistakes. You use it to own them quickly and convert them into systems. You don't set scarcity windows to dodge accountability. You set them to protect quality and fairness. If someone less powerful needs you, you honor escalation paths. You credit in public, correct in private, and when you wield trade-offs, you do it with the company's mission, not your ego, as the North Star. That ethical posture is not only right, it's durable. People smell the difference between a status climber and a systems builder. Here's a compact toolbox you can pocket by tomorrow morning. A one-breath frame. In one line, the decision we need by 11:20 is A or B. A trade-off line. We can keep Friday and then X dies, or we can keep X and then Tuesday lives. A boundary line. To help properly, I batch responses at 1:20. If it's on fire, call me. A credit line. Shipped. Thank you to Maria for the last mile polish. A defuse line. I might be wrong. Here's my read in one line. What am I missing? A correction line. I misscoped Thursday. Here's the fix and the prevention. These are small phrases with large gravity. They paint you as the person who protects outcomes with calm costs and protects people with clear credit. Status follows that combination like iron to a magnet. Install environmental cues that make this your default. Put a small metronome or a simple coin on your desk. You touch it before you speak in meetings. It sounds silly until you try it. The coin is the physical anchor for your tempo. Move your chat apps one swipe deeper on your phone. Move your memo template to your desktop. Print a decision log and leave it in plain sight. Use a plain kitchen timer so you never time a deep block with a device that wants you shallow. Write your 2 response windows on a sticky note and put it on your monitor's bezel. Create a peer pact with one colleague. Every weekday you send a single black dot at the start of your first block and a check mark after your third. No paragraph, no explanation. If you break the chain, you buy coffee. It is not childish. It is invisible structure, the kind adults use. Let's tie this to AI because 2025 isn't 2015. Tools that summarize, transcribe, and draft are everywhere. Status doesn't go to the person who uses AI loudly. It goes to the person who turns AI into repeatable leverage that the team can trust. Use it to draft your one-page memo skeleton. You fill the costs. Use it to cluster customer feedback into 3 decision-ready buckets. You pick the threshold. Use it to generate a baseline checklist for a migration. You remove steps that don't apply. Most people let AI flood them with options. You'll do the opposite. AI proposes, you dispose. This posture subtly elevates you above tool worship and anchors you in judgment. If you want a 1-week sprint to make this muscle real, here's your challenge. Day 1. Claim the next meeting's frame on paper and open with a question that reduces chaos. Post in the comments "frame" after you run it. Day 2. Establish 2 response windows. Publish them in your status and tell your immediate team your escalation path. Comment "clock" when you stick to it. Day 3. Ship 1 artifact that can travel without you. A 1-page memo with options and a stamp. Comment "artifact" and tell us what decision it moved. Day 4. Run pure trade-off framing in 1 conversation and refuse to say "can't," only "can" at this price. Comment "trade-off" with what lever you used. Day 5. Build or update your alliance ledger and credit 2 people publicly. Comment "ledger" when it's done. Day 6. Choose 1 discomfort ladder rung and execute it. A 5-minute readout, a live demo, a frank post-mortem. Comment "edge." Day 7. Create or tune 1 optionality asset, a template, a checklist, a mini automation. Comment "optionality." Track your respect ratio for these 7 days and watch how quickly a room starts to wait for your read. In practice, you'll discover something Machiavelli hinted at and modern teams confirm. People crave the relief of someone who makes ambiguity expensive and decisions cheap. When you claim the frame, you're relieving anxiety. When you speak last and decide first, you're protecting diversity of thought and then ending the loop. When you make your time legible, you're making your team's time legible too. When you ship artifacts, you reduce rework and rumor. When you name trade-offs, you prevent pretend capacity from detonating Friday nights. When you keep an alliance ledger, you replace vague politics with transparent reciprocity. When you put skin in the game, you stop signaling with noise and start signaling with cost. And when you build optionality, you protect your future from the taste of any single boss. You'll also learn to notice the silent tells that your status is compounding. People forward your documents with "see attached," "follow this." Meetings shorten when you attend. People DM you before they announce a decision because they want your stamp. Escalations start looking like questions. If we trade scope for time, which version hurts least? Decisions come back with your language inside. And perhaps the quietest tell. Your own nervous system stops flinching when calendars shift, because you know exactly how to reframe and renegotiate without heat. What about mistake days? The days you break your morning fortress, reply to everything instantly, and end up sprinting to nowhere. You correct without drama. You send a single line to stakeholders. "I misscoped my morning. Here's the updated plan and what slips." Then you run 1 deep block before noon to reacquire tempo. Status is not destroyed by errors. It's cemented by the way you recover. The room doesn't need your perfection. It needs your containment. If you lead a team, scale this culture with 2 simple defaults. First 2 minutes of any meeting, silence for the pre-read. Nobody speaks, everybody reads. The quality of decisions jumps and the temperature falls. End of every meeting. 1 owner, 1 date, 1 post-read. If you can't name those in 30 seconds, the meeting isn't done. Turn a Slack channel into a weekly artifact shelf. Everyone posts 1 object that shipped value that week with a 1-line caption. Praise the object, not the hours. Over a quarter, that shelf becomes a portfolio of proof. Promotions become less of a debate and more of a museum tour. Take a breath and imagine December 2025. You're in a different elevator, not because your office changed, but because your posture did. Your mornings are protected by default. Your windows are respected without argument. Your documents carry your voice across floors you've never entered. Your allies know what you value because you made it tradable. Your calendar shows more building than broadcasting. You don't panic in rooms. Rooms slow for you. That is the compounding of quiet decisions. That is the dignity of expertise recognized without applause. It started with 90 seconds on an index card and a question. What decision do we need by 11:20? It grew into a life where optionality is normal and your no is a kindness instead of a mask for resentment. Before we close, here's a final handful of phrases you can put in your pocket for the next 10 days. For clarity, can we choose between A and B by 11:25? To protect quality, which lever do we pull? Scope or date? I'm batching responses. If it's truly burning, call me. Here's the one-line frame. What did I miss? Shipped. Credit to you for the last mile. I'm choosing the ugly draft now so we can decide faster. We can, at this price. Stamped. Maria owns this. Tuesday, 3 p.m. None of these are aggressive. All of them are expensive to ignore. That's the point. If this gave you structure and a little relief, earn your dopamine honestly. Like this video, share it with one colleague who needs out of reactive mode, and comment a single word that is your commitment for this week. Frame if you'll claim the next room. Clock if you'll publish your windows and actually honor them. Artifact if you'll ship one document that travels farther than you do. Trade-off if you'll refuse to say can't and name the cost instead. Ledger if you'll track alliances like an adult and credit like a pro. Edge if you'll choose discomfort on purpose and make it visible. Optionality if you'll build one asset that scales. Subscribe for more dark philosophy applied to real Tuesday mornings and quiet promotions. Walk into your next room a half step slower, touch the coin, exhale longer than you inhale, and say it under your breath. I set the frame now. Then ask the question that reduces chaos. The rest will follow.